nice guy, but he had no personality. And he was the type of guy you didn't want to do anything with because he couldn't do anything exciting. I forgot what his name was. But anyway, so the line I had for Rick was that this guy's name was George. I can't remember his last name. And so Rick was supposed to say, for this guy retiring. So George has promised you an exciting night on the town. But you got to wait about 6 months so you can practice being exciting. And so that was my line I gave to Rick.
That's a great line.
So that he could say that. But instead, Rick says, George is going to give you an exciting night on the town. Period.
Oh,
it was so flat. So anyway, so we had like Rick had 3 and I had like 3, and every one I gave him or Jim said he screwed them up, every one of them. I said for Stan Lovell, who's always this guy with these used cards, especially Army surplus. I said, Stan Lovell has a present for you. And it's an almost new half-track from the U.S. Army. And the only thing wrong with it is that there was a direct hit at D-Day. But, but other than that, it's in almost near new condition.
That's hilarious.
Those weren't exactly the same words. I had better words than that. I forgot what they were. I used to really enjoy doing that.
You did. Yeah.
Now you got a talent for it.
Yeah. I love those. Adam Schulte is... You know who Adam Schulte is. He does the terrible, terrible, terrible stuff.
He's, awful.
Yes.
Just like...
Yes. And he always calls himself an artist. And he's absolutely crazy. And he was still like the roast of Frey. I said... Adam Schulte's here. He likes to think of himself as an artist, and I agree. He reminds me of Edvard Munch's The Scream, equally tortured and just as funny.
That is awesome.
And it was funny, like, everybody zeroed in on the fact that Schulte's not actually funny. Like, Tom's like, Adam Schulte's comedy reminds me of the lyrics of a Black Flag song, but without the clever wit. With Black Flag's like this terrible death metal band. So like...
Punk,
whatever. But, whatever.
Close needless enough. Correction.
You know what I mean? Just, like, he just got ripped to pieces. I had some really good ones. I was really proud of myself. But the Edward Monk thing I thought was very clever because it.
That's really good.
I was pretty proud of that one. Equally tortured and just as funny. So true. This game.
He doesn't even deserve to be roasted. He just shouldn't be doing stand-up.
Well, when we were roasting Frey, you roast everybody else who's there.
Oh.
Like, that's how roast work. Like, you do one joke each about everybody else who's there, and then you destroy the person being roasted.
Oh, okay.
My joke for Tom,
that makes sense.
which I was really proud of, I don't know if you guys know this, but Tom Emmons quit his job on his 40th birthday. Very inspiring stuff. Since then, he's really upped his game. He hasn't failed a GTA mission in months.
That's a video game.
Is disturbingly true. So,
what's a GTA?
It's a video game.
It's a Grand Theft Auto. It's a video game. So he hadn't, he upped his game, his video game playing. And when I told that joke, I watched his little face just fall, like just fall, like from sunshine to rain. I just watched it happen. So then later I was like, hey, were you proud of that joke? Because, I was like, it had a really strong punchline. He goes, I did not like your joke about me. And I was like, why? He goes, it was too true. It was sad. And I was like, yeah, well, I go, you've done, I'm like, it's not like, you've done other things than play video games. But, it was pretty funny. I wish I could remember my other jokes. Oh, one of my favorite jokes about me so I put on this event with Chaz Scoville, who's Frey Ford's best friend, and Chaz was the MC, right? So Chaz had all these ideas for the show that were terrible, right? They were terrible. And I had this whole joke about Chaz and Frey in my set where I was like, you know, when Frey and Chaz really started working together, I just assumed it was because Frey was lazy and he was getting Chaz to do all the work because, you know, clearly he didn't team with him for his talent. I go, but having put this show together with Chaz, I can assure you it wasn't for the region. Like, Frey's doing all the work, you guys. Chaz does nothing. So Chaz gets up there and he goes, he's like, you know, I put on the show with Carrie Adams. He goes, I made several suggestions. She shot down every single one of them. And then told me to stop being such a control freak. It's so true. It's so true. But in my defense, they were terrible ideas. And sometimes I'll just be like driving along and I'll think of that. I think of Chad saying that. I just start laughing. And every single time I'll call him, I'm like, I'm thinking about that joke again. It was so funny. It was so true. It was so true. And in the end, like, I ultimately gave Chaz one job, which was to line up live music. Because we were going to have live music before and after. And they never showed up. The band never showed up. So... But Chaz actually tried. Like,
sort of sounds like Anya, Lisa, and Larry.
Yes, it was a lot like that. In Chaz's defense, he's like 23. So.
Wow.
I actually really like Chaz Scoville, and I feel for him because, you know, his older brother is so famous.
Yeah.
And
what's his older brother?
His older brother is this stand-up comedian named Rory Scovel, who you probably haven't heard from, but he's from Greenville.
I was gonna say, so famous is he's famous
amongst stand-up comics.
Yeah,
he's so famous. Like, in terms of like who can, you know, like up here in terms of ticket prices, right? You have like Dave Chappelle or Jim Gaffigan or Kevin Hart, right? And barely underneath them, $5 underneath him is Rory Scovel.
Really?
Yeah, so Jim Gaffigan's like a $50 ticket, Rory Scovel's a $45 ticket. Like, I mean, stand-up comedy-wise, he's so famous. Plus, he's much more young, he's like the young cutting-edge comic that all the coming-up comics imitate. So everybody up here is kind of like old fogies that aren't idolized
established
by the younger guys.
Yeah.
Rory Scovel's the guy that all the younger guys idolize. And, I was actually at this party semi-recently. There's this young comic. He's only 20 years old. His name's Chris. And we were watching Chaz beat Chaz over in the corner. And I'm like, isn't it crazy that if he doesn't look anything like Rory? It's a Catholic family with 8 kids. And Rory's this old and Chaz is this old. You know, I mean, there's a big difference between them. And I'm like, isn't it crazy that Chaz's older brother is Rory Scovel? And Chris goes, that's not even a funny joke. And I was like, no, his older brother's Rory Scovel. He goes, I'm not, like, do I look like I was born yesterday? Like, and I was like, his older brother is Rory Scovel. And then he's like, now I'm starting to believe you, and I don't appreciate it because I feel like you're messing with me. So I start pulling up all the stuff about how Rory's from Greenville and, you know, coming, like, how often he does shows at Coffee Underground. And then I watch this 20-year-old kids go, like, he just stared at Chaz for the rest of the night, like he was staring at a unicorn. And that's how people treat him. Is like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, remember that time you tried to set him up with my girlfriend?
You know
my girlfriend.
Rihanna.
But that's not. You know that's not what happened. I'm just ignorant.
Yeah. No, I know it wasn't like intentional. But she.
Well,
you know,
told me the second it happened what I'd done.
What happened?
The second.
The second it happened. So what happened was.
Good. At least Tom has some sense.
I know. Tom reads those things a lot better than I do. So I was sitting at a table with Chaz and Tom. And this is back when Rihanna was working at Habiba's. And Chaz has an unusual kind of sensibility and love of art. And, like, Rihanna's an interesting person who loves squids and painting interesting things. And it suddenly occurred to me, I'm like, oh, Chaz and Rihanna should be friends. Like, these are two interesting people, and that they would enjoy each other. You know. I'm an 18-year-old stuck on a 38-year-old body. Like, I don't know how these things.
18-year-olds know better.
Thanks. On the head by my mother. So I was like.
Chaz is a young guy, and he was like on the prowl. I mean, he was like looking for a lady.
I don't see him that way. So
But I mean, that's as it turns out.
But, I mean, like I just see him as like a little boy.
You know, either way.
Anyway, 21-year-old kid. So Rihanna's like, I'm like, oh, Chaz. This is my friend Rihanna. Rihanna's my friend Chaz. I'm like, y'all should be friends.
Not my brother's girlfriend.
I didn't. I said
this is my friend.
That's how I said it. But I said it literally like that, like, oh, Chaz, Rihanna, Chaz, you guys should be friends. And then Rihanna walks away, and Tom thumps me on the head exactly the way Mom just did.
And rightfully so.
And he goes, do you understand what you just did? And I was like, what? And he goes, you just tried to hook them up. And I was like, no, I just thought that they should be friends. And he's like, no, you're an idiot.
Just infuriatingly idiot.
Yes. And I was like, no, Chaz wouldn't take that way. Chaz wouldn't take it that way.
Well, there's no other way to take it.
But that's
Okay,
what I
listen.
didn't know. So then
It's not that it matters.
Then Chaz gets on stage and goes, he's like, well, you know, my night just took a turn for the better because at least my friend Carrie is trying to, like, hook me up with a super cute girl. And I was like, no.
I did not know that part.
Yes, so he gets on stage and he's all happy. So then as soon as he gets off stage, I go try to find him to correct the situation. I cannot find Chaz. He disappears. Because he had gone out the other way.
No, I had to correct the situation, if I recall.
No. I didn't get that part. I thought he had left, but he hadn't. I think he just gone out to smoke a cigarette because he smokes. And then he came back in, finds Rihanna and David. Goes up next to Rihanna. David's sitting right next to Rihanna. And he's like, asks for her number and all this other stuff. And then
Jeez, Carrie.
I know.
I'm pretty sure I corrected the situation.
Yeah, so then David's like, yeah, this is my girlfriend. And Chaz is like,
Yeah.
And then Chaz finds out that you're also my brother. So that was on a Thursday.
Wow.
The following Monday, I see Chaz at Coffee Underground. I'm like, I heard from my brother what happened. I'm so sorry. He goes, I'm not talking to you right now. Like, I'm not talking to you right now. He goes, but your name is going to be mentioned on stage tonight. And I was like, I understand that I deserve this. So Chaz gets on stage and he goes, having a really rough week. I'm going to talk to you about Carrie Adams, who you've seen on stage a couple comics ago. And I'm like, oh no, here it comes. So he's like, if somebody says to you, hey, hey, what do you think? Oh, this is a single girl my friend's trying to hook me up with. She seems really cute and nice and yada, yada, yada. And the whole crowd's like, yeah, I would think that, yeah. And he goes, so would I. Would you think that this girl was dating her brother? And the crowd's like, what? And I'm in the back just dying 1,000 deaths. And he goes, and would you also think that her brother was there that night? And that he was big and scary looking and totally capable of beating you up? And the crowd's like, no. And so he was like,
Oh my
so then
God.
he just ended it with like 30 seconds of like yelling my name with like expletives around and got off stage.
Oh, man.
And I was like, I'm so sorry, Chaz. I'm so sorry. He's like, I've said my piece. We never need to talk about it again. And I was like, I do stuff like that kind of a lot because I don't understand those things because I was removed from that world.
And listen, children that I love all my heart.
Time to go.
Is